They say you can reverse fatty liver in just a few weeks without medications. I've heard these claims, but not all of them hold up. Let's see if this one does. Hi, I'm Dr. Eric Westman, and welcome to my channel where I review and debunk nutritional misinformation online. In this video, we're going to hear from a doctor who is focused on the liver, and he says there are ways to fix fatty liver. Let's see what he says.
Hey everyone, let's talk about remedies for fatty liver. I'm Dr. Sethi. I also go by Dr. Sethi. I focus on your liver health. Today we will talk about 3 foods to avoid and 3 foods to consume to reduce liver fat and prevent fatty liver from progressing to fibrosis, scarring, or even cirrhosis.
And so that's why fatty liver is a concern. The fat in the liver can cause damage and other processes that go along with it. And cirrhosis, fibrosis is the irreversible cirrhosis, the irreversible change in the liver that means the liver isn't detoxifying the compounds in your body correctly. The liver, for example, detoxifies alcohol if you drink it. Also, the liver makes proteins that carry nutrition around, proteins that have a lot of functions outside of that detoxification. Someone with late stage cirrhosis is at risk for bleeding, for example, because the proteins that help you clot aren't made in the same way. So you don't want to go down that pathway towards cirrhosis and fibrosis of the liver. You only have one liver. We have 2 kidneys and 2 lungs, but so you want to take heed. If someone says you have fatty liver, you want to reverse it. And so the reason we worry about it and want you to reverse it is that it can lead to these long-term, really serious health problems.
So 3 foods to avoid. First, sugary drinks. Top of the list are sodas and juices. These are loaded with empty calories and can severely damage your liver, contributing to fatty liver disease. A common question I get is whether diet sodas are okay. Unfortunately, even diet sodas are not ideal as they contain artificial sweeteners like aspartame, which can disrupt your gut microbiome.
Well, so hang on. I totally agree that sugar and drinking sugar is the worst for fatty liver. And I don't agree that the diet sodas, the non-sugar sweeteners, are bad for the liver. And he actually kind of changed the subject to the gut microbiome. Did you notice that, for a criticism of the non-sugar sweeteners? But here, let's get back to the liver. So we don't store sugar in our bodies, just a little bit in the form of glycogen. We have this huge ability to store fat in the human body, all mammals for that matter. So if you have extra sugar around, your body turns it into fat. And because we don't store sugar, we store fat. So if you came to my office, or any obesity medicine practitioner for that matter, and you stepped on the scale, I use a bioimpedance body composition scale, you'll see that your body is made of water, fat, and protein, not sugar. Not, again, a little bit, a day's supply of sugar. But if someone comes in with 100 pounds of fat on their body, we estimate they could live for a day or 2 on every pound of fat. So you can see that you can live a long time on the body fat. You couldn't live a long time just on your body sugar. There's about a day's supply. So how do we get that extra fat on our bodies? Well, the old theory, the old thinking was it's the fat in the food. And the fat in the food goes to the fat on the body. But that didn't really quite make sense, because a lot of the sugars that you're consuming are turned into fat and stored in your fat cells. A lot of that change from sugar to fat is happening in the liver. Thus, fatty liver coming from sugar in the drinks. I wish you would have made that connection so you understand why you don't want excessive amounts. So if you don't burn off that sugar in the drink or the food, your body with insulin around is going to be set up to turn that sugar into fat in the liver or in the fat cells directly. And you're going to grow the fat on your body by drinking and eating sugars. So I totally agree. This is the number one thing to be concerned about. I'm not so worried about the non-sugar sweeteners in terms of the fatty liver. That's not going to cause fatty liver.
Soft drinks are liquid poison. I personally use water, sparkling water, coffee, or tea.
Would it be healthier to have those beverages he's talking about without the artificial sweeteners? Maybe. I don't know. I think the question is still an open one. And a lot of doctors, though, kind of sign off. Why don't you just go to the tea, coffee, and water? Okay, I'll go along with that. But there's not a whole lot of evidence saying that the non-sugar sweeteners are going to be bad for you and cause fatty liver. It's not that same metabolic process of the insulin and the glucose and the fat storage. It's not involved.
Second, deep fried foods. I tell my patients, if we are deep frying, we are dying. Deep fried foods, especially those cooked in unhealthy oils, should be avoided. If you must have fried foods, use an air fryer. While not perfect, it is a better alternative to deep frying. Remember to use high smoke point oils like avocado oil, ghee, refined coconut oil, or refined olive oil in your air fryer.
So I don't understand that connection with the fatty liver. He didn't really explain why, and I think that's just one of these common. Everybody knows that you shouldn't have fried foods, but if it's not carbohydrate that's being fried, oh, well, that could be the assumption that you're frying carbohydrates, and those carbohydrates are digested to sugar, and the sugar causes the fatty liver. Well, I'll go along with that one. But I'm afraid the fear about different oils is overrated, overblown.
Third, ultra-processed foods. Items like chips, candies, sugary cereals, hot dogs, and instant noodles are highly processed and detrimental to liver health.
Well, so they are, and yet they're starches. So ultra-processed is a term that's being used and ill-defined. It's difficult to define it. These, to me, are really more aptly and scientifically described as starches and sugars. And remember, those get metabolized to fat in the liver and in the fat cells if you're consuming more than you're burning for the day. So fatty liver comes from the sugars and the starches, not from the fact that they're ultra processed. But that said, okay, these will also cause fatty liver.
Sugary cereals, which millions of kids all around the world start their morning with, are more like cereal killers. Instead, switch to healthier breakfast options like oatmeal or eggs or multigrain breads.
For sure. So there again, you're minimizing the sugar, and breakfast cereals are full of sugar and starch. And this is why there are obese children and people who are children affected by fatty liver, even to the degree that children will have cirrhosis and liver failure because of the consumption of these foods. That's really pretty sad.
Now let's talk about 3 healthy things to consume. First, healthy beverages. Include drinks like black coffee, black tea, green tea, and matcha in your diet. These beverages are rich in antioxidants that can support liver health. Just keep these to 1 to 2 cups a day and avoid adding sugar. A touch of honey is fine. And if you have trouble sleeping, you can choose decaf options, which still offer plenty of liver-friendly antioxidants.
Yeah, so it seems to me that the recommendation about the beverages is because it doesn't have the sugar in it. So I'm not sure one of those is better than another, but they're great because they don't have sugar.
Second, turmeric. It contains curcumin, a compound with strong anti-inflammatory properties. Aim to incorporate half to 1 teaspoon of turmeric in your diet daily. Make sure to talk to your doctor first. You can add it to soups, marinades, or even your evening yogurt. It is a simple addition that can support liver health.
Well, I don't see any problem with adding turmeric if you want. I don't necessarily recommend it because when you're changing the inflammation in your body by reducing carbohydrates, that's doing a lot on its own.
And third, 3 Bs. Incorporate berries, broccoli, and beets into your meals. Berries are rich in antioxidants, particularly anthocyanins, which help reduce oxidative stress and inflammation in the liver. Blackberries, blueberries, strawberries, goji berries, acai berries, all kind of berries. Second, broccoli. This cruciferous veggie is high in fiber and contains sulforaphane, which can enhance detoxification in the liver. Cabbage is another good option. Beets. These are known for their high content of beta-alanes, which possess anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. These help in improving blood flow and liver detoxification processes.
Well, if you're keto or carnivore, then you want to be very careful about the carbs in the berries and the vegetables. The broccoli and low-carb vegetables, asparagus, broccoli, cauliflower are going to be the best ones to choose if you're limiting the carbs in the vegetables. Beets almost got onto the allowed food list, but not quite. And every now and then they will be fine. If you're not doing a keto level of carb restriction, if you're not doing a carnivore type of diet, then these are excellent choices of foods that I have to agree with. And the avoidance of sugars and really starchy foods is the theme to help your liver. Yeah, so I like the focus on restricting sugars and starches to protect your liver. And I know that seems weird. I've even had doctors say, well, there's fatty liver, cut the fat out of the food. Duh. No.
How you buy mine?
No. The fat in the liver comes from the sugars and the starches in the foods or the overconsumption of calories in general. So any method that leads to weight loss, reduction of caloric intake, including a low-carb, keto, or carnivore diet, will improve fatty liver. And things that he talked about here are great ideas, not putting an amount for each day. I could see that you would be eating what he recommended and it wouldn't reverse the fatty liver. So you want to do a kind of program that incorporates the carbohydrate restriction or calorie restriction explicitly if you do have fatty liver or you've been told to do something to prevent going in that direction. In general, a good video, and if you like, please like and subscribe, ring the notification bell, look for new content on Wednesdays and Fridays. If you enjoyed this video, consider joining our YouTube membership for early access and exclusive live Q&As with me. Just click the join button below or support us with a PayPal in the description.